All right, hello. I am Ashley Tullis, and professionally, I'm a realtor with Realty One Group Mountain Desert. But today, I'm just another citizen of Flagstaff, and we are on the quest for common sense. So today, we have Kristina Depinet with us today. Hello.
Hey,
Thanks for joining us. So, Kristina, I wanted to ask you, what is your common sense that you'd like to share with everybody?
that when we go through transitions, we don't have to do it alone. We have everything we need, and we just need to be encouraged and help each other out in the process.
Okay, I love that. And when you say transitions, what are you specifically geared towards?
So, really just it could be any transition, but the one that I am working through is the transition from one environment to another. I moved from the city to a rural area and all that's involved with that mentally and physically, and sometimes financially. So that's what I cover.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into this? You said you lived in the city, and now you're or have already transitioned or still transitioning into this kind of different lifestyle. So tell us your background. What does this mean for you?
Yeah, so I grew up, I've all my life I've lived in the city, but obviously in my 20s and 30s, while working for a school, I lived in the city. And if you're familiar with Arizona, Gilbert is in the valley. Northern Arizona is a completely different part of the state. And so I lived there for about 3 years when I came to Arizona. And just like anyone else, I'm living in an apartment, going through daily life. Everything is there for you. You plug and play when you need to use a hair dryer, when you need to get your car serviced, right? All of that. So, after working in the school for a while, there's times where you get burnout. And so I would go monthly to go do camping trips. I felt like I needed to connect with nature. I felt like I needed to get out of the city and get out of all those luxuries and reconnect. And it helped me, so I would do it monthly. Well, in that process, I found my husband dating, and he lived in northern Arizona. He lived off grid, and off grid means no connection to any utilities at all. And so he loved nature. I love nature. We fell in love with this idea of being closer to nature and the stars because he was an astrophotographer of sorts, like amateur. Um, and so I ended up, moved in together, got married. I moved up north. I had all these questions. Of course, I just have him to bounce off of. But once I got here, I realized, well, there's more to it, right? I have more questions and things in my head because I grew up differently than he would. He's just like, matter of fact, like, okay, yeah, this is how it is. So I felt other people might have the same type of thought process with any transition, but especially with this one, more people are excited about reconnecting with nature after COVID. And so I felt this might be a need, this might be encouraging as I kind of plod along and figure out what's going on. So that's how I got into this. And just making that transition, we spent a year completely off grid, year and a half actually, while we were looking for a house. We ended up moving a few cities away, a smaller town where surprisingly we were off grid, but not fully, right? So some areas you're allowed to haul your water, but you may have electricity. So that's where we ended up in one of those areas. So it was a different spin. And we've been here for about 5 months, and I am reconstituting what I talk about a little bit, but not much because there's still things to talk about. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now you're kind of in a hybrid situation where you have the electricity, but other things are still off grid. And you lived for a whole year, you said, for in your transition where you were totally off grid. And that's what like a lot of people have maybe heard about this off grid living or just trying to do something different, build their own home. that's maybe not so expensive. Because in real estate, and especially in Flagstaff in northern Arizona, we know things are very expensive up here. So people are looking at different options, but it is kind of like we get so wrapped up in, like you said, the luxuries that we have, like, the running water in the bathroom and being able to just flush the toilet and it all just goes away, or you just turn the stove on and boom, it just works right away. You don't have to worry about anything like that. So how can someone who's trying to take these baby steps and start to get into more off-grid living, how can they be more comfortable with some of these things that people are like, oh my gosh, I cannot give up, I don't know, certain luxuries?
I'd say the biggest thing for me was realizing, what do you bring? What do you bring to the table, right? Everyone has some kind of skill or resource. Maybe you took it for granted because you did have electricity and you had some of these things. I'll give you an example. Someone might know how to sew. They might be really good at sewing, right? Or someone might be really good at gardening. I was a good gardener before I moved out here. Little did I know that that would be a skill that would be helpful, because when you have land, you naturally want to plant things. Maybe you want to be a little bit less dependent on having to get vegetables and fruits and things like that, or beautify, right? Or, help the community somehow. So that's what I would say is take note of a skill that you have that regardless of your circumstance, that can transition with you and it'll be an asset, right? So I don't know, maybe some people think, okay, what would I do if it was the 1800s? I don't know. I don't know how you would think of it, but right, just no luxury for some people means I don't have access to, like you mentioned, I don't have access to these things, electrical and these things. Well, what can I do with my hands, my brain? What can I do with my body that doesn't require me to have those things? And then you'll feel more comfortable to start, right? Then you might start rolling into other things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that how you said, like, lean into your strengths and make a list of things that you are good at and that you like to do. That helps. But yeah, like sewing. I know a lot of these communities, Williams, Ash Forks, Seligman, things like that up here in northern Arizona. If you like drive down some of these roads, like everyone has their own little business, in their home. And you'll see their signs at the beginning of the road. And it's like, this guy does the gravel laying and this person does, oh, I don't know, but everyone has their own like little business out there. So I feel like if you did have sewing, you could even put your little sign up at the beginning of the road saying, sewing and alterations, give me a call. And the community is really there in those small towns or those small places.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that kind of goes into your common sense of that there are people to help you, and it might feel, oh my gosh, this is a huge transition. I'm going out into this place that's not a big city. I'm not having the same luxuries as I'm used to. But there are people out there already doing it, and they're willing to help you do it too.
Very true. It's something I've discovered as well. I mean, I think sometimes there's some trepidation, right? Like, I'm not sure. Will they like me? I don't know. Everyone has their, be confident in yourself and what you bring, like you say, and you bring something, and others have been there before, like you say, so they can help you get started or be interested in getting something from you, and then they spread the word. It spreads like wildfire in a small town.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Well, that's so neat. That's so cool. I know that myself and my husband, we have bought a couple of 10 acres out, in the middle of nowhere is what it seems. And we are slowly working on, we'd love the idea of maybe getting rid of our rent in these apartments, and moving out there. But it is a transition. We have about a 2-year goal to have, because we don't want to just be out there roughing it. I think that you can really struggle or you could really thrive. So we're trying to like get a shelter, get out a situation for bathroom and outdoor sinks and outdoor showers. So we have maybe like a 2-year transition. It could be sooner, if things go well and things go right. but raising up the money and everything like that and getting the plans and just learning about all this different stuff. This is stuff that you don't learn like when you're in the city. You don't learn how to use solar or how to connect a septic system or apply for certain construction loans or anything that could actually help you do this. So it's a huge learning process, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you brought up too. Like you have a specific, you guys have specific things that you want to happen as you're moving in, right? So you have that plan in your head. And that's a really good point because other people may be like, I'm diving in. We have that a lot. You've seen it, I know, as a realtor. We have a lot of the other end of it too, which is like, we're just going to be there and then figure it out. And then we have we super planned and we're good. And then we have the middle, right? Which is like what you're talking about. Like, we kind of have some plans and we want to make sure some things are in place and then we can. So it's like the gambit out here, which is comforting maybe. So you don't feel alone. There's always someone doing something. Yeah, but yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It'd probably make it a little bit easier for yourself. You know, you're still going to have a learning curve, but we're not going to make it that sharp, right? So. Yeah.
Right, I've watched those shows, like, I don't know if you ever watched stuff like this, but like Bear Grylls, The Island,
Yeah.
or like Alone.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to be like that. I'm not trying to like survive.
Right.
I want to have a little roof over my head and something out there. And I'm sure like that's how anyone would feel, right? You'd want at least
Yeah.
a little $500 shed or something, like.
Yeah.
Because I do love those shows. I binge watch those a lot.
Alone's great. I love that.
That's funny. In your community, do you find that people are friendly and helpful, or do people mostly want to stay to themselves and, not really communicate?
It's funny because I just did a video on well, not just, but a week or so ago about me trying to connect with my neighbor. So there's a little bit of both, right? I made it a point. My husband and I made it a point. Look, we're gonna go there. We're gonna get connected. Like we were just like, all right, and using our strengths. So I connected with a garden club, and so it just so happened the county was putting in a garden with the help of some citizens. So I jumped on that, and now I'm part of that. And I'm co-chair there, which is wonderful. I get to meet women and we discuss garden, all that. But then there's the other side. And most people have been nice, kind, helpful. The other side is, you're right. People come here sometimes because they don't want to be around people. They don't really want to be like the day-to-day we have in the city where you pass by people all the time and there's a lot of cars. They came here so that they wouldn't have to interact with that. And you have to kind of respect that if you're an extrovert like me, or you're just, maybe you're not an extrovert, but you want to know your neighbors. You want to be like, I'm here just so that, and some people that's their line. And it's kind of respecting that and also respecting that, hey, there's some other great experiences with these other people. There's a balance there and not feeling slighted. Like, I had to check with my husband because he's been there, done that, and asked, is it me? Nope. People move out here. They just don't want to, be involved sometimes. I'm like, okay, so I'll see you from afar. So yeah, it's a little of both. And my neighbor, I don't think I will ever really like meet her up close unless she's outside of her, like the timing has to be right. But I respect if she doesn't want to, and she does a bang up job with her property. So, hey, that's great.
Good. And yeah, that's what you might expect. People are friendly, but also kind of keep to themselves.
Yes.
So that makes sense. What is a way that you like to encourage other people? Like, I know you said that you have your YouTube podcast. Tell us a little bit about that, how you encourage people there.
So on my YouTube page, I just kind of, it's a little bit day in the lifey. Whatever's kind of on my mind. I encourage people on different parts of the journey, interactions with people, how they should accept those interactions that might be different from the city. We talk a little bit about, the skill level. So like I show some garden, I talk about different seasons and planting. And then the practical, okay, we had an issue with our septic lid because of a cow. And And things like this that happen, and how you safeguard, or how you set up a water system. We had to do that. We had to get water cubes, and my husband finagled together a way to connect all our water systems so that they then allow us to get water and then haul it up. And so we did. So it's a little bit of everything. And in that, I hope it encourages people, like, okay, you see her mindset, you see his mindset, you see there's funny things that happen, there's things that are more serious, there's skills that people can have, and then there's like flops. Like, she had the skill, but in this environment, that was a flop. Like, So it's in the actions and the mindsets and the verbalizing of all of that I hope people are able to kind of be encouraged and be like, okay, yeah, we can see it's a struggle, but it might be worth it.
Right, everything's a struggle. You have to pick your struggle, right? You have to pick
Yeah.
what you want. So, because having a, $3,000 a month mortgage, come on, that's a struggle. That's a lot of money. Um, and you could be putting that towards your own land or something, building your own property. I know we talked about this before. It's like, people, and there's nothing wrong. Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
But in real estate, like I said, I see different things. In Flagstaff, you could buy a house for maybe 600,000, or if you wanted to build your own property up, imagine what 600,000 into your own property
Um,
would really be. So,
yes.
I mean, come on, that'd be amazing. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Um,
And you did it, right? With your hands, like, or you helped
right.
orchestrate it in a way that you like. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can take the time to plan everything out. That's kind of the stage that we're in, which the planning is a lot.
Yeah.
Because um, we have our 10 acres, but we have some neighbors. So we want to have our little deck in a spot of trees where the neighbors can't necessarily see us or we can't see them. And we want to like build things intentionally because it'd be easy to like just put up any old house, boom, just put something there.
Right.
But we want to put something nice. Maybe, we want to make it ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about. You got the freedom to do that.
I know.
Uh,
We're excited, and it's exciting to hear from you and your story because you're in it. You're in it. So maintaining these properties is not easy either. There's lots of maintenance that has to happen, and a lot of people don't think about that ahead of time. You have to really maintain these septics and cisterns, your solar. If you are building your own home, you have to make sure it's up to code and permitted correctly. I mean, you don't have to, but it's a good idea to.
I don't
um,
want to get in trouble.
I know a lot of people out there don't. A lot of stuff is unpermitted, but that's the right way to do it, is to jump through the hoops. Um, but a lot of people don't really understand either about maintaining these properties, and it's not just like you put it up and then you go sit down and watch TV all day. You gotta always be looking at your house. Oh my gosh, is there a leak? Is this happening? Is my lid on my septic tank still, or did a cow knock it over? so, so that's just something to think about for people.
It's very true because, like you say, it can run people away. And a city, if you don't maintain your house, you kind of you got other things to lean on. Nothing is necessarily on you to fix, right? I can ask city sewer to come and help me with this. And I mean, you might have to pay something, but I'm saying you have like, you're not doing it directly. You have to be comfortable with being a little bit of a handyman. You can save money that way too. People out here, have people haul water for them. They have people come and do services for them. But it's a good idea to just be on top of the maintenance and know, okay, I see this crack, I can patch that. Like, be comfortable with that. Yeah, because it'll nobody wants to be surprised in a winter or
Yeah.
yeah, just
Or in a big rain or something.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. Um, Now, I know that you do gardening. Tell me just a little bit, and we can wrap it up here before too long, but tell me a little bit about what do you grow and how do you grow it to be successful? Because I know Northern Arizona is one thing, And then as you get into these outlying areas, like they're all even in different kind of climate zones, and they're tricky soil and it's rocky soil. So how do you do this?
All right. So, one of the first things I did when I came up here, because I definitely believe in leaning on the knowledge of others, I asked some of the women at the group, my garden group, but also there's a Facebook page for the area that I'm in, and everyone kind of posts on there different things, neighborhood watchy things, or things about their gardens or whatever. And I just kind of looked on there when I was going to start my garden to see, okay, the soil's rocky. We have a lot of junipers in this area. Junipers tend to poison the soil, is what I hear from
Yeah.
a lot of the gardeners. So be mindful about trying to do a little like ring of flowers around a tree. That probably won't work here, unless they're in a raised box around the tree. You want a bench there or something. But see, I'm also creative, and I am kind of a little bit of a experimenter. So I said, all right, they said that. How far away from a juniper can I get? And so if the soil is good under some rocks and you're further away from a juniper, you can do it. I've noticed this. Okay. This is just me saying this. I don't know about Now, my garden is I have like a ring. I took over a bit of a stone ring that was already there. I don't know what they used it for before me. And it was perfect. So I used that. And it is about maybe 20 feet from a juniper. And
Okay.
I said, let me go ahead and try putting some in ground. I just want to see if it dies, okay. So I got some soil amendment. And so I just put in butternut squash, some hardy stuff that actually is for the region, right? I didn't put stuff that's like out of the region. Squash, zucchini, which is a squash, pumpkin. So I'm starting there. They're doing phenomenal.
Good.
The pests are real. So instead of worrying about rabbits or, coyote, we have all that out here, which it's not an animal thing. It's an insect thing, which is what I'm noticing. So I have tons of marigolds, took care of it.
Oh,
So
good.
yes. So experiment one down. Experiment number two, I'm going to do a raised bed garden in another area of property. I'm sure that'll be even better. But those who are watching, stay tuned. You'll get to see like the harvest for pumpkins and all of that. So far, so good. But you have to know your soil. You have to know the area, like you said. You have to be willing to experiment. Don't get so like, oh, it died. Okay, well, I know that doesn't work. Let me try something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So far, so good.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah, because even in Flagstaff, like I have a little community plot, and it's tricky to grow certain things. So I'm a little worried about how I'm going to be growing things on my acreage out there too, because I know it's kind of tricky. But raised beds, greenhouse, you know, that's probably the way to do it because the soil just up here is not ideal.
It's not
I don't
conducive
think.
to, yes.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Our neighbors would say, he said that there are a lot of greenhouses. So you're on the right track there too. If you want to just like plug and play or build from seed and not worry about
Yeah,
any pests, you got that greenhouse covered. So they're not going in there.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, and they're cheap on Temu sometimes. I see those.
yeah,
I have never bought something like that, but I don't know, they're cheap on there. So I look at them and make sure.
they
So,
are.
well, that's awesome. This is great. It's really good to hear, some encouragement, some insight from someone who's already doing it, especially locally up from in this area. I do have a small following and a small community. So as we're wrapping up here, how will people find you if they're hoping to get in touch with you?
You can reach me through my channel. You can send me a message there. It is at Life ATK, the letter A, the letter T, the letter K. And its a YouTube channel is called Subscribe to Life. There are some other Subscribe to Life, so you need to use the at Life ATK. And there's an email there on my profile, and I'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. Well, it's been amazing chatting with you this morning. So thanks, Christina. And
Yes, thank you.
you are so welcome. We'll see if we can get you on again.
Be awesome updates.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.